Hey everybody, this is Mo from Dream Activist. For the past week and a half or so, we've been asking for all of you guys to share your stories and share your videos about coming out. And so I thought it was about time to step up and actually do one, since it's about Thursday night or Friday morning. A little bit earlier, Gabe posted his video, Gabe from GIR 2010, woo! And he posted his video, and he said, you know, the most important thing for us to say is, my name is, and I'm undocumented. And so that's how I was going to start off my video. My name is Mohammad, and I'm undocumented. My parents immigrated from Iran, which is on the other side of the world, when I was just 3 years old. You know, going out of high school, I always knew I was undocumented, but I never really understood what it meant until it was that time when everybody was applying for colleges. And I was watching all my friends, and you know, they were applying to these schools and these colleges, and I had dreams of going there as well. But I knew because of my status, I wasn't going to be able to go there. And I know that rings true for lots of you guys, and when we hear your stories and when you email us, it's the same thing that we hear from everybody. And so after high school, I was perfectly fine with, you know, saving my money, going to a community college, saving up my credit so that eventually one day I would be able to go to a university. And I remember it was in the summer of 2007 when that day came, and I applied to this school. I applied to Eastern Michigan University, and I remember I went there, and I was sitting in the admissions counselor's office, and he came to me and he said, you know, Mohammed, you're the kind of student that we want at this university. You meet all the grades, you've done all this stuff, you're amazing, we're glad you came here. And so I remember he gave me this piece of paper, and he said, you know, this is your acceptance letter. And I was looking at the piece of paper, and I had my 9-digit number that was on there. It was my student ID number. And I remember I was looking at this piece of paper he handed me, and I was thinking to myself as he was talking about something about, you know, financial aid and things that I knew I wouldn't qualify for because of my status. And I was looking at this piece of paper, and I was thinking that, you know, when my parents came here 20 years ago, this is the same kind of hopes and this is the same kind of dreams that they had in mind when they came here. And I had that in my hands. And I remember as I was looking at this piece of paper, I was thinking, you know, there's been so many nights that my mom has been sitting at home crying, thinking about, you know, what have I put my kids through? What have I made them suffer through? And as I was looking at this piece of paper, I was thinking that, you know, I'm going to finally be able to call my mom and say, hey mom, guess what? All of those dreams and all of those things that you had there finally came true, and it was all worth it. And so as I was sitting there looking at this piece of paper, this counselor, I remember he was talking about, you know, you're going to be able to qualify for this financial aid and all this other stuff. And as he was talking, I was just kind of like drowning him out, and I was looking at my amazing piece of paper and my new 9-digit number. And so then he walked out of the room, and he came back like 5 minutes later, and he came back and he said, you know what, Mohammed, we made a mistake. As we were looking at your application, we missed the box that you clearly marked that you're not a citizen. And so he said, because of that mistake, we're going to have to take your acceptance letter away. And so he took my acceptance letter away from me. And he said, because I wasn't born here, I wasn't good enough for the university. So this was around September of 2007. In October of 2007, there was this thing called the DREAM Act that was up for a vote. And I'm sure all of you guys are familiar with the DREAM Act, or else you wouldn't be looking at this video right now. And so the DREAM Act came up for a vote, and at that time there was 44 senators that decided that we didn't deserve a chance to go to college. And so the DREAM Act failed. Around that same time, I was, you know, thinking to myself, like, okay, this is somewhere I've grown up in. This is somewhere I thought I was always going to live. I was going to give back to my community. But at this point, the DREAM Act wasn't a reality, and so what do? Do I leave? And so I realized that, you know, I couldn't go back to Iran because I'm also gay. And so going back to Iran was just not a reality for me. And so then I started talking with other undocumented students around the country, and started meeting other undocumented students, and I started realizing that my situation was not unique just to me. I was not the only undocumented student out there. There were so many other undocumented students that were going through the same exact thing that I was going through. And so what we decided to do was, all these other students, we decided to come together and start an organization that would actually work for our rights. And so we started dreamactivist.org. We started with Prena in California, with Maria in Pennsylvania, with Juan in Florida, with Mark in California, with Kemi in Texas, and all these students, we came together and we started dreamactivist.org, which is this amazing organization that all of you guys are now a part of, and we consider all of you guys a family too. And so it's been an amazing experience so far, and we've all been fighting for the DREAM Act together. And so I wanted to thank each and every one of you guys for all of your support and for everything that you have been doing, sharing your stories and sharing your videos. And that's really what's been helping us get through it this whole time. As undocumented students, all of us working together to make sure that nobody can get in the way of our dreams, and that if we want to get the DREAM Act, it's on to us, and it's up to us to make sure that that happens. And so again, I want to just thank all of you guys for sharing everything with us, and that, you know, if we really put in everything we've been putting in, we're definitely going to make this happen. And so if you have some videos to share, if you have some stories to share, as you can see, you know, coming out is not about coming out in front of a press conference or coming out in front of a big audience. The only thing around me is just some weird people that are taping this video right now, and this beautiful Dunder Mifflin video from The Office, which I'm sure you guys are all familiar with. And if you're not, this is my inspiration for passing the DREAM Act. That's what gets me through the day. So definitely check it out, Office. But I want to again thank you guys all for just sharing your videos and stories. And so yeah, we're gonna make sure that the DREAM Act happens this year. Thanks a lot.